Hey y'all, it's me. Thank you for once again coming back to my channel, whether it's on Instagram Live or you are viewing this on my YouTube page. Either way it goes, please do me a favor, like, share, comment, and subscribe. So today what I really want to talk about is Hebraic markers in the Black Church. I'm specifically talking about the Apostolic Pentecostal Church, not even Kojic. I mean Pentecostals Assemblies of the World, and some denominations, well, not denominations, some organizations that I met branching off from the apostolic movement under the PAW. I've also fellowshipped with UPC. It's basically the white Pentecostal movement. Basically any Pentecostal movement that stems from Azusa Street, but I don't have much Kojic background. I've also fellowship of Full Gospel Baptist. So when I'm speaking, I just want y'all to know I'm speaking specifically from a PAW onward standpoint. With that being said, growing up in the Black church that I grew up in, a lot of preachers actually bragged and boasted a lot about being New Testament preachers. Outside of my mom, my dad, Bishop Noel Jones, Bishop Norman Wagner, Bishop Iona Locke, and myself, and maybe some people here and there, a lot of the preachers are quote-unquote New Testament preachers. And they brag about it because they're so caught up on Jesus, which we know is a transliteration, that Jesus and Joshua have the same name, Yeshua, Yehoshua, in the original language or in the Aramaic. And he actually spoke Aramaic. So it's like when we use the Greek standpoint and when we brag about being New Testament teachers, do we not realize that it's written in Koine Greek and that we were under Grecian captivity coming, dealing with the Hasmonean dynasty, dealing with Alexander the Great, dealing with like all of these things after Grecian captivity. And also not realizing that Roman captivity was talked about and prophesied in that same New Testament. The Roman Catholics, the Roman Empire was very present in the Bible. And so when we brag about having all of this New Testament theology, we need to understand about the inserts that were placed in the entire Bible, but specifically that New Testament. It's littered with Egyptology. And if we look at the different councils like the Chaldean Council and the Nicosean Council, but even if we look into these wars, and see when Greece came into Africa, came into Egypt, came into Canaan, came into Israel, came into the Near East, they whitewashed and changed a lot. So this is how you end up with a lot of these doctrines that I'll go into. So when we speak about baptism and we baptize in the name of Jesus, a lot of times we don't even know why this was done. And that's a video that I'll go into in depth one day and making correlations to the laws that we're supposed to keep. But when we look into baptism, this is a Hebraic marker. When you look over into voodoo, what you will see is that they have these customs and that they have these ritualistic ceremonies when the women, but everyone, are dressed in all white. And a lot of times the women are doing what? They're setting the atmosphere. And the men are on the drums and they playing the drums. They playing the congos and they begin to chant. They begin to sing, right? And the women have their tambourines or they have their dances and they do their ritualistic dances to set the atmosphere. And they wear these masks to invite the deity that they're ushering in. When we go back to Azusa Street and we see Azusa Street, and you know on Pentecost Sunday, what y'all just do, y'all just wear white. And we see that on Sunday mornings and in church, what happens? We begin to play the drums, begin to play the organs, and these frequencies are released. The praise dancers come out, or the praise and worship team, or the women come out, and they set the atmosphere for worship to unction in and to invoke the deity or a higher power. And then when you look over into these voodoo ceremonies, and mind you, these are people who are practicing Hebraic markers. If you really, really, really want to be completely honest, when you line up a voodoo ceremony and a church ceremony with Old Testament customs, you really have to ask yourself, in complete authenticity, people who practice voodoo and hoodoo as religions, you have to be 100% honest and say that they have more Hebraic markers in their practices than the Black Church. They still offer up sacrifices to their deity. They feed their deity through worship. They feed their deities through grain offerings, through oil offerings, through money. They still believe in the herbalistic and holistic side of life as far as taking care of. They believe in going to their elders for treatments for infertility, for treatments for divorce, for treatments for children running off. They still believe in unaliving people whom have been abusive to women, whom have been abusive to children. They still believe in putting scriptures and different things around the doorpost. All of these are Hebraic markers. They still believe in taking herbal baths and using herbs to extract unclean spirits and unclean illnesses. They still believe in eating certain foods. And then you have the Christian church with the Hebraic markers, baptism, that's ritualistic cleaning, laying on of hands. That's something that I'm not even going, because it's a lot of different things that if the Black church realized that a majority of the things, sadly, that's done is done from a Roman Catholic and a Grecian standpoint. But the Black church, what do? We take oil and we bless it, right? A lot of pastors feel as if, at least the pastor that I saw, a bishop that I know, Bishop D.L. Thompson, he used to get his blessed oil from over in Africa with myrrh and frankincense in it, because myrrh and frankincense has certain healing mechanisms, but myrrh and frankincense were also used in the Bible to carry out certain things. When we began to sanctify the temple, that's what the Levitical priesthood did. When we began to set up the singers in the temple, that's what the sons of Korah did. So while the Black church has some Hebraic markers identifying us as a Hebraic people, because that's what we need to do. If we look at all of the Afro people in the diaspora, where they're practicing African spirituality, where they're practicing Christianity, we have to begin to look at all of the markers to tie it back into Bible belief and realize that once we stop calling evil good and good evil, then we'll get back to the genesis and etymology of who we are supposed to be as a people. So once again, this is for my apostolic Pentecostal church going people. What we need to do is get back to the root of things. We have been so whitewashed in all of our thinking that if someone decides to take herbs versus going to a traditional doctor, we call them crazy. If someone decides to teach their children on how to eat a healthy diet, we call them crazy or nitpicking. If people stop celebrating holidays, we say that they're doing too much or it's not that deep. For some of us, it is that deep because we're really big on the etymology of knowing things and knowing exactly what it's rooted in. So this again, to all of you who are still stooped in Christianity, I just want to encourage you and to push you to just look and get your nose delving deep into that OT, into that Old Testament, and begin to look at the Hebraic markers. I'm going to link down below some of these African tribes. I've said them so many times. The Igbo, Abraham the Igbo, Abraham the Hebrew. Look into the Igbo, IGBO. Please look into it. Look into the Akan. A lot of them are from the tribe of Judah, AKAN. So many different ones of them. Okay, look into the Bassa tribe, the Timen tribe. Look into the Yoruba. They have Israelites among them, but also Canaanites. They are called the Beni Ephraim. That means that they're the sons of Ephraim. Look into the Dahomey tribe. That's the tribe of Dan. Like, look into all of these things. Even look into some of more of Hebraic people. the Edo of Japan. Those are ESAUs, Edomites. We have to expand our thinking. And I'm going to continue to talk about these Hebraic markers. I'm going to continue to push out these little short videos. And then I'm going to make some big lessons with these facts. We have to wake up. And we have to stop calling good evil. Sunday worship is not the Sabbath of the Most High. Christmas is pagan. Easter is pagan. Birthdays and the way we celebrate them are pagan. All of these things are pagan. Let's get back. He gave us the Sabbath, which is today. He gave us feast days. He gave us days where we can celebrate. Every new moon, we're supposed to celebrate and blow the shofar. When you come back to your Hebraic customs, I promise you, you'll feel better about yourself as an Afro-Asiatic person, but the way that you're serving the Most High will completely change because you'll know exactly how to appease that power. And if we are not worshiping on these right days, that worship still goes to some God. And the Most High will hear you because of your heart. He hears us in captivity because he knows our heart. But also, he will not always strive with men. And so if you are coming across this video, and if you are watching my videos, and if you have been watching my page for the past 4 or 5 years, and if you have not been convicted to study the Bible, or if you have been convicted and you have not put it up, woe be unto you. I have a lot of associates who are still in church who have asked me questions here and there, who have had drawn out conversations with me. The Most High gonna judge you for that. Because you have people around you who are waking you up and who are talking to you about certain things. So dig deep. He's gonna hold you accountable for what you know and for what you study and for also what you don't study. Ignorance is a choice in this dispensation. Be not fooled, for the Most High is not marked. Whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Thank y'all once again for viewing my channel. Like, comment, and subscribe.